All right, great. So thank you for having us back with ADP. What we wanted to do today were a couple of things. We just want to share a little bit about ADP, kind of where we are and how we progressed through where we are today, and then some of the things that we had talked about around some of the usefulness of our technology, which I plan on showing you today, and also tie that around our ADP story, as well as what ADP is doing to prepare clients such as yourself around the topic of affordable health care. Is that fine, Dan?
Sounds great.
Okay. So as you all know, and as you know, you've all been using ADP for a while, and ADP has been a technology company. I'm going to share with you a few facts about each one of our levels of development as we go through our demonstration today. But ADP has been in business for over 60 years. That's a fact. We've been doing payroll, we've been doing yours, and we serve over $1 trillion worth of revenue within the cloud every year. That's a fact. What our clients have learned throughout technology, through payroll, through time and labor, and through HR is that we're very good at what we do, and we've been doing that for you for a while. The other part of that, what our clients have realized is that we wanted to get into, they needed more services around their technology. So we started to get into a comprehensive model, meaning we provided people ADP expertise to kind of go through and help manage those technologies. That's the fastest growing business within ADP, that's a fact. There's certain client profiles that fit into there, whether you be you're starting to expand, you talk about where you are from an employee growth standpoint, where you are from a revenue, or if you're looking to consolidate your inner back half practices, the comprehensive service fits into those processes. In fact, it's grown at a 44% rate over the past year. And the third level of service that we've looked at, or an additional one, is what we call our professional employment organization. ADP has been doing it for over 15 years, but we actually co-employ with our clients, and we what we do is provide another level of security, compliance, and regulations. So the fact on that matter is that we have over 275,000 worksite employees that are on this platform today, and because of the regulations around the Affordable Care Act, a lot of our clients are looking to go on that platform. So depending on where you fit within the ADP model, whether it be technology, comprehensive services, or even the level of a PEO, we believe we have the technology to be able to provide that for you. What we're going to show you today actually is the technology that all three of these platforms sit on. Based off of a few scenarios that we have talked about before, I'm going to walk you through how our ADP Workforce Now technology is the basis that all of these sit on. Is that fine?
That makes sense.
Okay, great. So one thing we wanted to talk about were life events, benefit enrollment changes that an employee might have. So what I want to show you today is how an employee, very simply, from our Workforce Now page that we're going to provide for you, there's 4 different levels of view that you can see, whether it be the employee view, or the manager view, or and this is an offline demo, so at times it takes us a while to get through it, but I'll go ahead and show you from here the 4 different levels. The employee view, the manager view, and the practitioner view. So from the employee view, we want to talk about benefits changes. The employee now has a secure username and password where they can go into our system, they can go over to the benefits page, and they can start to look at review benefits changes, review their benefits beneficiaries, and compare plans, plan details. The point I want to show you today is the life events. Today, when an employee makes a change to a life event, they have to fill out a form, they send it to your HR department, your HR department then contacts the carrier, and that whole process gets done. And this way, with our portal, the employee now can go into the system, they can add a child, they can change spouse, an adoption, whatever it might be. These changes now are directly related to your payroll. So anything that an employee now can go do themselves, they can change that within the system, and it automatically routes over the payroll. Another event that our clients really like to talk about is our PTO requests. So what I wanted to show you today is how an employee now can go into the system, same as before, and make a time off request. So today, within your system, when an employee makes a time off request, they do it on a paper system, an email system. They send it over to the manager then has to approve that. But then you say, well, how does the manager then know if they can approve that? So the other level is from our manager standpoint. A manager now can go into his own schedules, take a look, and before he can approve or deny that request, he can take a look at the schedule to see if he has coverage for that. The manager now takes a look and says, I can approve that request that I just received from Richard. He approves it, an email immediately goes out to the employee and says, okay, thank you for your request has been approved, and the manager knows that he has now been covered for the shifts, and that automatically gets routed to payroll. deductions come out of the accruals, and there's a paper or there's an electronic trail that goes through it, and everybody's covered. Another thing that our clients like to take a look at is the onboarding of new employees. One thing I like to show to you, and I can't show you in the online demo, but what I do have is a couple of slides, is our online new hire wizard. So when you bring a new employee on, how they go in and become an initial registration and go into the back door of our Workforce Now system, where they start to gather their information, and it automatically flows through payroll, HR, and time and labor if you have them set up in that way. I won't go through each of these slides today, but you can see how it just walks an employee through how to go enter into the system. So once you have decided that before you decide that you want to walk an employee through the new hire wizard, there's also a recruiting tool, which you'll see here. We have the ability to do recruiting, meaning you can start to gather online resumes. You can do application management, meaning you can start to move your employees through the interview process. You can do screening and selection. Once you get to the point of you decided that you want to make this employee an offer, you now can send out an automatic notification on where they can get their background checks done, all the way up to hire an employee. So all of this can be done from the back door of this same Workforce Now tool, all the way up to the point where you want to run them through the new hire wizard. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay. The last part I want to show that I think is pretty powerful for our clients that use our Workforce Now system is the reporting. If you think about the information that you put into a system such as this, you talked about putting in benefits, we talked about putting in time and labor, we talked about putting in payroll. Well, how do you tie all that in to make good business decisions? So let's have an example. Suppose you start to have a turnover, and the president or the CEO of the organization, such as yourself, wants to know, how is that affecting my business and what is that rate to do? So we can actually go into the third level of access we talked about, which is the practitioner. The practitioner now can go into a reports, and let's take a look at payroll reports. Now, because of an offline demo, I can't actually run a report today because we don't have any of your data in here, but I want to show you what some of the reports that you can pull. So let's go to, so these are just standard reports that are listed here. So you can go in now and look at employee changes report, where you can see where employees may need change to their payroll. You can look at labor distribution earnings. We can look at an employee roster report, where you can now start to see where turnover is. You can look at benefit summary report. So what you'll see is you can start to take our standard reports to pull that information to make intelligent business decisions, or we can even customize these reports to what you're actually looking to see between the two itself, so that you can really start to understand what your workforce is doing, what your workforce is, how that relates to payroll, and how that relates to decisions that you need to make moving forward. Was there any questions about what we're able to provide to the Workforce Now scenario today?
No, you've covered a lot.
Okay. So we talked about our life events. We talked about how employees can make changes. We talked about how managers can approve PTO. We talked about what kind of information a CEO or executive can get from a report standpoint. And we talked about how all that relates into the ADP story, our history, and what we're doing around the Affordable Care Act and how this information is relevant. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. If there's anything else, I feel free to follow up with you. And thank you.
Thanks.